All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're looking at a totally new breed of cyber threat, and this one is slick. It uses AI not just as a cool buzzword, but as the perfect disguise for a really sophisticated attack. This is all about PyStoreRAT.
So, picture this. You're scrolling online and you find what looks like an amazing, open-source AI project, something that could genuinely make your work a whole lot easier. You download it, you run it, and just like that, you've unknowingly rolled out the welcome mat for an intruder. That's the exact trap we're breaking down today.
So what really makes this different? I mean, we're not talking about your average computer virus here. This is a highly coordinated campaign that turns our own trust against us. Our trust in the open source communities that developers and security pros that we all rely on every single day.
Let's just quickly break down what we're dealing with. PyStoreRAT. It's what we call supply chain malware. Now that means it doesn't just knock on your front door. No, it sneaks in by hiding inside something you already trust. And in this case, that's an AI project on GitHub. And the RAT part? That stands for Remote Access Trojan, which basically just means it's a secret backdoor that gives an attacker full control over your system to steal whatever they want.
And you gotta understand, this is not a random spray and pray kind of attack. Oh no. The attackers are surgically targeting the people with the keys to the kingdom. We're talking IT admins, security analysts, and OSINT, or open source intelligence professionals. These are the folks who handle the most sensitive data and have the highest level of access. This makes it a really calculated, strategic move. And honestly, it's part of a pretty worrying trend where the attackers are now targeting the defenders themselves.
You know, the real genius and what makes PyStoreRAT so dangerous is its camouflage. It's brilliant, really. It doesn't try to kick down the door. It just waits patiently for you to open it and invite it right in. Let's look at how they pull this off.
Here's a good way to think about this. Imagine you trust your favorite brand of cereal, right? But what if someone snuck into the factory and poisoned just one ingredient, like the sugar, before it ever went into the box? You'd buy it, eat it, and never know until it's way too late. Well, in the digital world, that ingredient is a piece of code, and the factory is a trusted place like GitHub.
So here's how they set the trap. It's actually a pretty straightforward three-step playbook. First, they dig up an old, inactive GitHub account. This is clever because it makes them look established, not like some brand new, shady user. Then, they fill that account with what looks like a totally legitimate and useful AI tool. And for the final move, they sneak the malware in through an update, calling it simple maintenance. It's deceptively simple and incredibly effective.
Okay, so the trap is now set. Let's walk through what happens step by step when some unsuspecting developer or analyst clicks download on one of these projects. This is the infection chain in action.
The second you run that project, a clock starts ticking. The malware silently wakes up and starts profiling your system, checking out your software, your hardware, everything. It's basically asking, are you a valuable target? If the answer is yes, it downloads its main weapon, something like the Rhadamanthys info stealer, which is designed to just vacuum up passwords and data. Then it phones home to its command and control server to get its marching orders. And just to show off, it even tries to copy itself to any USB drive you plug in, always on the hunt for its next victim.
Now, what makes PyStoreRAT so incredibly dangerous isn't just what it does, it's how good it is at not getting caught. It was literally designed from the ground up to be a ghost in the machine.
And here's where you see the huge difference. See, traditional antivirus software, it looks for known fingerprints, or what we call signatures. But PyStoreRAT, it's a shapeshifter. It actively checks if security software is watching it, and if it is, it literally changes its behavior on the fly to stay hidden. It's a dynamic threat, and that's exactly why the old ways of catching malware just don't work here.
Let's look at the actual mechanics of its stealth. It uses a whole network of command and control servers that it's constantly rotating through, so trying to block just one IP address is completely useless. Like we just said, it's designed to actively evade antivirus, and its malicious code? It isn't sitting in a file called virus.exe. No, it's embedded deep inside other files that look totally normal, making it almost impossible to spot with the naked eye.
Okay, so that's the threat. It's sophisticated, it's stealthy, and it's really, really smart. So the big question is, how in the world do you fight a digital phantom? Let's talk about solutions. You know, this quote from the researchers at Morphosec, the very people who uncovered this threat, it says everything. You just can't fight a new enemy with old weapons. If the malware is dynamic and changes its behavior, then your defense has to be just as dynamic. You have to start looking for suspicious behavior, not just suspicious files.
So, what does that actually look like in practice? Well, it means you have to be fundamentally skeptical. Don't just run scripts from sources you haven't thoroughly checked out. It also means investing in modern security tools that analyze behavior, not just old signatures. And it means being vigilant. Monitoring for things like unusual USB activity and, this is a big one, keeping an eye out for those dormant GitHub accounts that suddenly spring back to life.
And if the worst-case scenario happens and you think you're infected, here's your emergency checklist. First step always is to isolate the machine. Unplug it from the network immediately to stop the bleeding. Then you have to hunt down and kill the malicious process, remove any way it has to restart itself, and then the hard work of forensic analysis begins to figure out exactly what happened. And the final step is to learn from it and make sure your defenses are even stronger.
So we'll end on this thought right here. PyStoreRAT uses the promise of AI-powered tools as its bait. And it's a powerful reminder that as this incredible technology gives us amazing new tools, it's also giving attackers powerful new playbooks. The next frontier in cybersecurity isn't just about fighting code, it's about defending ourselves against the whole new kind of AI-driven deception.